So we're going to talk about The Great Dictator, which is from 1940. So obviously over 80 years old, but spoiler warning, if you've not seen The Great Dictator. If you've not seen a film, it's sort of it's a parody satire on World War II and the rise of Hitler. So it mirrors real life events. So Charlie Chaplin plays both parts. He plays an unnamed Jewish barber who's injured in what's called the Great War. He then spends years recovering and is unaware that at the same time a dictator has risen to power called Adenoid Hinkle. Who might that be? So I picked this because I knew we'd kind of moved, we'd broadened our horizons to talk about classic films. And this is one I'd never really got around to watching, and I'd never seen, as someone who's quite, is very interested in comedy and stuff, the inner workings of comedy, I'd never seen any Charlie Chaplin film.
I was very excited actually when you said that we were going to watch it, because I was like, this is a great one to sort of finally get round to. In general, I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's very, like, you can really tell that it's a film that is on the cusp of sort of two different huge moments in industry. So you still have the sort of silent film kind of vibes and some techniques to it, but then with the dialogue sort of added in and some sound effects here and there.
And I certainly didn't actually expect to find it funny or not that funny. However, I thought it was a lot funnier than I was expecting it to be, because there's so many types of comedy in there. You've got visual gags, you've got obviously slapstick, you've got satire and parody, you've got actual written jokes.
Just so versatile, like you're saying, like in his physicality, in the way he tells jokes, in the way he creates comedy around him as well. Obviously, so many facial expressions and kind of such intensity with his physique, because you have to do that in silent cinema, because that is how you communicate with the audience, isn't it? You can't use your voice. Everything sort of felt familiar, like so many things that had come after and that I'd already seen had sort of emulated it or, paid homage to it. And I feel like that's it's sort of when you know that you're kind of onto an epic or something. Similar like with Star Wars, I think I've said this to you before, but I had all my Star Wars education from Family Guy, from the cutaways they did, from those long episodes they did. And then when I watched Star Wars, it was like, oh yeah, like that bit. Oh yeah, like that bit. And it was kind of similar with this as well. So something I hadn't realized was that speech that he gives at the end was from that film. So I know that speech. It's been used in a few songs. I'm pretty sure Paolo Nutini used it.
Yeah, I
think Bliss and Esso used it in one of theirs. So I knew the speech and was kind of familiar with it. And then, but I didn't know it was in this film. And then when sort of Charlie Chaplin starts speaking, I was like, I recognize that voice. Why do I recognize that voice? I know who that is. And I was like, oh, that's the guy. Is that the same guy? Is that the guy who does the speech? And then obviously it was at the end. So that was great to be able to see that, sort of after having it on my radar through other various kind of pop culture references, and then to be able to sort of see its origin. That was pretty cool.
The fact of the matter is that speech is so incredibly written. It's probably one of my favorite pieces of cinematic writing, because I just think it's so powerful. It's such a powerful piece of writing.
The whole time, like, I just felt engaged with it the whole time, and beyond the fact that I had to watch it because that's what the podcast was about. I just sat down to it and I was like, I'm going to experience something here, because it is a little bit, it's the closest you're going to get to traveling back in time. It's the closest you're going to get to like connecting with people back then and how the world was. So it's both horrifying and comforting that, through decades and decades of time, that you experience the same things.
I've picked this because it's a classic film. So we're not going to pick whether it's underrated or underappreciated. I think what we need to do is have a little look at the critical reception, decide, is it a classic? Do we think it's a classic? So to give you a little bit of an idea, IMDb gives it 8.4 out of 10. And Rotten Tomatoes, the audience give it 95% and the critics give it 93%. So
wow.
What do you think? Is it deserving of its status as a classic?
Yeah, certainly I would say so. I think that when you can see so much influence elsewhere of like decades and decades of cinema and television, and it's still kind of touching things now, then yeah, certainly. How about you? Do you feel like it is deserving of its classic status? And do you feel satisfied, like you got from it what you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say it any other way. I think it is a classic. I think that I actually would say the IMDb score of 8.4 is a little low. I would say I think, yeah, it's absolutely a classic. I thought it was brilliant. I definitely watch it again. I really enjoyed, like we said, its legacy improved the film, and I liked the elements of satire and parody and all the different types of comedy, and like you said, enjoying the influence it's had. So yeah, I think it is firmly deserving of its classic status. Right, next week's film.